Welcome to the hour of 8 at exactly 1 minute past the hour of 8. It is time for Good Morning Uganda Agenda. This is a time where we look at issues of national concern and you're able to give feedback regarding the topic of discussion by simply going to our various social media platforms, and of that we have our WhatsApp number where you can send a WhatsApp message but also send an SMS, and we'll be reading it out and our guests in studios reply to your concerns, to your questions. Today we woke up to good news regarding how our own mountain gorilla, a portrait of it, that is Chebande, was taken and actually ended up winning that is this year's wildlife photography competition. The difference is it was taken by a person from Kuwait, not a Ugandan. And that brings us to our topic this morning, which is promoting Uganda's tourism potential. There's so much that we have in the country, but how do we sell it to the Ugandans? How do we sell it to the world there so that they get to know that if there is any place to go, Uganda must be the destination? If you're Ugandan, so that we don't see Ugandans ranking second as number 2 tourists that go to neighboring Kenya and some other countries. Yet home, our domestic tourism is not all that best. With me, I'm honored to have, that is the Minister of State for Tourism, Minister of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, that is Honorable Bahinduka Martin Mogara. Honorable, you're most welcome to our studios this morning.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chirabo, for having me, and morning viewers.
Honorable, just to start with, we've seen how good the potential in Uganda has been exhibited to the globe, and actually even winning that is this year's wildlife photography competition. That is our own from southwestern Uganda, the 40-year-old gorilla. Let's begin at that point. How does it feel knowing that what we have, someone came from another part of the world and has now sold it to some part, to the entire globe, showing our potential?
Thank you so much, Kirabo. We are all excited and happy, and I wish every Ugandan was tweeting about this for once, something positive. A lot of negative is out there, but of course it's I'd look at it in two ways. First of all, Uganda is an open country, and we appreciate the so many people that come visit this country, take its beauty out there, talk about it. This was an exhibition where one of our own won. And of course also for the Ugandan people that we are saying, involve yourself more in tourism, not only the animals, the culture, the food, the rest, so you can also exhibit out there, and maybe you'll be the lucky winner of this, because what has won is what we have in Uganda. Uganda is the country in the world with the biggest number of gorillas, almost over 60%, and there are so many groups. If you went to Kisoro, probably Mugahinga and Mugahinga and whatever is there, those where we have these Anbuindi, where we have these beautiful animals, take some time and see and appreciate and see. So of course we are glad that we have so many people coming in here to view this, and they take out their exhibit, and of course that's why we even talk about conservation as something very important for the young generation to grow up knowing that, you know, we need these things. They bring in a lot of money. If you look at how much value a single gorilla would have in terms of money, I think you wouldn't even believe. So let's talk about conservation more, and that's why we are saying let's engage communities so that they understand the importance of not cutting down our forests. You see, today everyone is talking about degazation of the protected areas, but I think you can see why we need to keep them, because this one photograph is talking about Uganda internationally, and like I'm saying, Ugandans, share this story alone. Let it not be only a story of a few other individuals out there. It's our story. So let's talk about our country. Let's talk about the beauty that we have to put out there, and going forward, market this country. Through that, we shall get investment. We're not only doing it for tourism, we shall get all kinds of partners coming into Uganda, and also understanding what this country has to offer in terms of diversity in wildlife, in terms of diversity in culture. Like people say, we not see. The actual truth is we are the most hospitable human beings on planet Earth. But how do people get to know about this? When someone has talked about this, and someone will try to get to know beneath the gorilla what is Uganda. That's how they'll know who we are and the rest of it. So let's talk more about the beauty
talking
of
about being gifted, the hospitality levels, how we have nature at its best, the pearl of Africa. First, the world has to know so that they can come. Second, the people in Uganda also must know and must be able to visit these areas. Honorable, let's begin by looking at deliberate efforts to sell Uganda to the world. What have we done? When we look at a country like Kenya, it spends so much in marketing Kenya within Kenya and marketing Kenya outside Kenya. Look at South Africa. They spend almost a big portion of their budgets. Uganda, what are we doing to this list?
Thank you so much, and that's a very good question. And you see, one interesting thing about Ugandans, they think that the marketing bit of Uganda should only be by me, the minister, and the ministry, and a few other players. We are all responsible for the image of this country. We all need to market this country. It's not my business alone. It's business for every Ugandan out there to say something good about this beautiful part of Africa going forward. But still, of course, as an institution in line, we are deliberately doing our best going forward, like I said, and we are looking at two fronts, both the domestic and the international market. And domestically, like I've said, there is no tourism sector that has grown world over that does not have the local people touring the very country. Most of these countries have over 60% of the population involved in tourism. They're the ones that bring in the money. They sleep in these hotels. And I was very excited over the weekend when we moved with Breathtaking Uganda, Miss Uganda. We moved to the western part of Uganda, Kabale, Kisoro, and we engaged with a number of hotel owners. And I was surprised that most of them were saying, you see, since we were hit by COVID, going forward now, 90%, we've been booked 90% almost every weekend, and we are only booked by the Ugandan people. So I want to thank those that are moving, that are out there enjoying the beauty. And we found very young people having their fun, those that had every kind of fun that you think about. Fun is not only in Kampala, it's even out there. Go and have it in the green, get to experience. So I'm really excited that of course, this is still a virgin sector that we need to explore more, and we are going to do a lot of deliberate marketing. We are partnering with you, the media, and that's why I'm saying sometimes we have challenges because of COVID. The money may not be that much that we have to offer out there, but be a part of our journey now. When we get better, we shall also think about you much better. But let's see how we shall be unveiling a brand to do with domestic tourism, only our domestic market here, that talks about destinations you need to go to, cultures you need to visit, people you need to interact with, that will be putting out, of course we shall also be partnering with hotel owners. I want to thank the tour operators that have come up with very good packages. I was talking about Breathtaking Uganda yesterday, and a number of other tour operators that have started tailoring particular packages for the Ugandan person, a little bit cheap, that is more affordable for me, that is not going to pay in dollars like a foreigner. But also want to thank the hotel owners that honestly have appreciated this and are charging a minimal price for the Ugandan, and they are charging in shillings, not in dollars. So they've made movement easy for everyone. So like I'm saying, tourism is for all of us, and I want to thank government as well. I want to thank His Excellency that has focused on tourism, but sees the importance of, we call him the #1 marketeer of this country. Wherever he goes, he talks about the beauty, you know, the climate and the rest. I want to thank the other players, because we've been able, even as we are speaking now, like I'm saying, trying to focus on roads. I want to thank Ministry of Health that we are partnering with to make roads better to access Mugahinga, to access Bwindi, where this beautiful gorilla, the picture was gotten from, so that there is easy movement. So tourism is everyone's business. Ministry of Health that is making it easy for our tourists to come in and out in terms of testing. Security that has given confidence to everyone out there to come and visit this country without any fear of maybe I'll be attacked in a game reserve or whatever it is. But of course, still, I keep saying this to the haters. Me, I call them haters. I have no business with someone who only talks bad about this country. I mean, come on. I'm Ugandan, I'm patriotic first. Despite the challenges that I have, Uganda comes first. Let's have time to do the politicking. Let's speak all the bad things we need to within ourselves politically. But when it comes talking about the beauty of this country and what we have to, because we're going to leave this country for the generations to come.
All right, but let's look at how best we've developed these sites. When you go to a number of tourism sites, yes, in terms of marketing, you can see a very good picture of a mountain gorilla. Then maybe a falls. But one of the things that we still find is sometimes the infrastructure. You can have roads. Yes, we've done roads as a country, and that is something we don't take for granted. Kudos to the government for that initiative in terms of infrastructure. But you go to some of these sites, I think the atmosphere The infrastructure, I want to go to maybe CP4s, I have to sleep in Bali. Because that's where I can find a reasonable hotel. When I get there, yes, I've come on the highway. Then when I branch off to get to that particular area, the road is so slippery. Go to places, the common ones could be the source of the Nile. A few of these things, of these areas in terms of nature and God-given attractions. Don't you think there is little, if any, that has been done to ensure we make them more attractive, we make them more accessible, we make them deserve what they should for us to get better?
Yeah, and of course, I partly agree with you, but I can assure you, even before I came to the ministry, for instance, my predecessor, Chawanda, was doing Tulambule. He put out awareness for what we have to offer as a country out there, and Ugandans were traveling. What we are doing is adding on to what he started and coming. There are so many young people with brilliant ideas to make this much more effective. Like I'm saying, tourism is a sector where we partner with the private sector. They are key players in our sector. So we are getting their ideas together. As a ministry, we are trying to be the best vehicle to make everything easy for everyone out there. But we still agree that there are still some challenges, especially in terms of accommodation. But like I'm saying, we've made a deliberate policy now going forward. For instance, WUA has been advertising for those that are interested in creating accommodation or putting up accommodation in protected areas. We had an advert the other day. So many Ugandans, I'm sure, have applied. We shall have other adverts come out so that we create a lot of accommodation.
That has been a very big challenge.
I agree with you.
In protected areas.
I agree with you, because of course we believe that the more the availability, then definitely then we shall create the fall in prices, because you see, we cannot keep begging hotel owners every day, please lower the price. No, let's create as much hotels, as much accommodation as we can, but of course in consideration with also the animals. You see, you cannot flood the whole area with accommodation, because there is a lot of science around conservation. You'd be actually shocked that, for instance, to visit gorillas, only a number of people can visit a day. Because they are like us. Like I told you, a gorilla is 98% human being. It needs time to rest, it needs private time, it needs time to do its business. So you cannot spend the whole day, looking at them. They have time to. So we shall do this in consideration of the conservation bit of it. But it's deliberate. We are looking at it and want to implore Ugandans, come and invest. There is money in the tourism sector. If you think there is no money, sorry for you. There is money. People are making a lot of it. But we are going to create the best enabling environment for every participant in this sector to make a penny out of it. We employ a lot of Ugandans. Like I'm saying, we are training human resource, which is one of the key things in the sector. Like we discussed actually, I remember the other day, that there is nothing as bad as you going to a hotel in Uganda and you're given second-class treatment, and you're given, someone serves you like as if they are serving, I don't know, someone at their home. And I think that's where the challenge has been, because you see, service is very important. If I went to Dubai or to the UK and I went into a hotel, I would get some kind of treatment, some kind of special attention that I wouldn't easily get here. So I want to thank government that has seen this, and the ministry. That's why we're having a very good training institute in Ginger, UHTTI. And then we produce the best people that can compete with the rest out there. If you go to Dubai, you'd get the same service in Dubai like you'd have gotten by Uganda.
Unfortunately, most of this is being dominated by foreigners in Uganda.
That is what we are trying to solve. Of course, most of them by the Kenyans. Thank God, of course, there is free movement of labor now that we are in the East African community. But we are saying that because they have a very good institute called Utali, and for them they've made a deliberate move. Because you see, in Kenya, the tourism development levy that they collect, unfortunately we've not yet started collecting it here.
But $10 per person who is living out of the country.
No, they charge 2% tax on bed nights, on a few other things that are within services that are offered within the tourism sector in Kenya. And that 2% deliberately goes to training human resource. For us, it has been in our act since 2008. We were talking about it the other day, and people started making noise. But we need it. We are the only country in East Africa that is not collecting this money. Rwanda is collecting, Tanzania is collecting, Kenya is collecting, South Africa is collecting. South Africa just uses theirs only for one thing: marketing destination South Africa. So we need these resources to make things better for us, because we need to be competitive. You see, the funny thing about tourism is what Uganda has to offer, Kenya has to offer, Tanzania has to offer, Rwanda has to offer. So how do you become more competitive than the other? It is more of a private sector kind of system. So we need to see how we compete with the rest. So when we are saying we need to get out there, market this destination, it's not easy for us to be
How are we going to market this destination or market these destinations, market Uganda? When we look at tourism, it is our #1 foreign earner to the country. But when you look at in terms of budget allocation that we keep giving to tourism, it doesn't match up with what we are getting. Is it because it involves other sectors? Maybe when you do roads, it affects directly you're boosting tourism. Have we appreciated as government that this is a cash cow? It has to be fed, it has to be treated.
No, of course government has appreciated it, and of course I know the challenge now is COVID going forward. Like I'm saying, money has never been enough. We need all these sectors to survive. So I don't think there will be a government institution that will say, for me, this is enough for me. I will also not sit here and say that what I'm getting from my ministry is enough. But what matters the most is to use those little resources and put them where they are meant to be, to create an impact. So I think, well, we've been affected by COVID, but as we get better, honestly, I think government and the whole world understands what tourism is. It is the fastest growing sector in Uganda and in the world over. So let's focus on it more. But like I'm saying, the biggest market here for us is you, the traveler. I don't know why Ugandans, honestly, if you look at the number of Ugandans that travel, it's well, I understand the challenges, like we said, accommodation here and there. There are some people who sleep outside the parks and can move inside. Because for us, we say, for instance, only 30% of the Ugandans visit protected areas. But even of the 30%, the biggest percentage goes to the zoo. The actual Ugandan that goes to Bwindi, to Queen Elizabeth, is a very small number. If we can just change this narrative, we shall have a resilient tourism sector that will be generating enough money, because when this money comes, it is used for the roads. And you see, we have something called the revenue sharing program that has been with us since time immemorial, where 20% of the revenues collected off park entry fees are given to the communities. I was just talking to someone today morning that for instance, you cannot believe, just there are 6 districts around Makshon Falls, but if you see how much money they get out of park entry fees, especially when you visit or when a foreigner visits, because now this money has been by foreigners visiting, not you the Ugandan. So if we have 4 million Ugandans visit every year, you don't know how much that would impact the lives of the people. Because for instance, we're just looking at let's say Bolisa, that's getting around 900 million shillings just for the parishes around, and we've deliberately changed the policy now that the money should only directly go to the parishes that are neighboring the park. If you look at all those districts, Soyam, and there is I think one of the districts that gets around 1.4 billion shillings around
annually.
Yes, annually. Of course, before COVID. Now that we are hit by COVID, the revenues have gone. Masindi was getting around 1.4 billion 2018, 2019 before we were hit. So if we grew better, you can imagine just one district surrounding the park, because of us visiting, is getting around 2-3 billion. Do you know how much that would impact the lives?
Transform the lives of the people if put to proper use.
Trust me.
Honorable, let's also look at, much as you want to market, there are some challenges that make it maybe Uganda to be a second alternative if a tourist is in the country or outside the country. And this is the level of taxation. I've been discussing with a number of players in that is the tourism business. For example, hotel owners were telling me we have about 18 taxes we pay. And this, of course, goes to the person coming in this hotel for accommodation. So you pay different tax for the swimming pool, for a bar, then for the bedding, that is for the accommodation. So that, I mean, a lot of taxes in one way or the other make it really go back to the person who is going to sleep there. So the issue of taxation being a problem to this industry, that at over and over shall end up seeing that maybe people in Uganda may be hindered. A foreigner could afford. How best are we handling this challenge?
Well, yeah, I agree with you, of course. But you see, there are some deliberate things that government has done. For instance, I want to tell you, amongst all the sectors that were hit by COVID, it's only, I think, the hotel owners, for instance, going forward, have been exempted from paying VAT. During COVID, those that were owned hotels in Kampala and outside were not paying VAT. Of course, now, because Kampala has been open and there is business, VAT has gone back. But the hotels outside Kampala are still not paying VAT. But we understand their cry. I know their challenges, really. Taxation is a big issue. And I want to thank the hotel owners, because, you see, they have a group now. They move as a they move as a team going forward. So we shall continue negotiating better and engaging URA and Minister of Finance to see how best we can help them make business a little bit easier for them. So I believe it's a challenge, but we shall continue engaging as the key players in the sector to see that a few things change. But like I've said, at least government is doing something like those waivers that I've talked about to make things a little bit easier. Of course, I want to thank European Union that gave us a grant to help hotel owners. I think we're engaging with UDB the other day, and
which is still problematic.
And we're saying the challenge is the delay, but at least the effort was there somehow. So we believe there are challenges, and that's why we're saying in case of a tourism development levy going forward, it should not go to the hotel owners now. It maybe should go on a ticket or something else. But we shall continue engaging our fellow agencies and ministries to make sure that this challenge is addressed. I agree, it is a big challenge.
Well, thank you, Honorable, and of course messages are coming in thanking you for the program and the information you're giving out. Please keep the messages coming in on our WhatsApp number. I'll be reading them. That is a 070960 2592. That is the number. And let me look at some of the messages that have come in. Hello, I would like to congratulate Honorable Martin and the NRM government for the great work rendered in so far as the ministry is concerned. And perhaps we expect a lot from you, sir, even as the Ntoroko district. That is Kisembo Willie. However, the ministry should aid the development of places with tourism sites, because people don't understand the relevancy of tourism as an industry. Let me also read another one. We still have good morning, UBC. Okay. This was into tourism. Okay. We still have more messages coming in. Please give us your name and where you're calling from. I think that is also important. Well, someone also watching, but let's first address that, developing more of these tourism sites.
Oh, thank you so much, and I want to thank my brother from Ntoroko. Of course, that's where I come from. I come from a community that is surrounded by Toro Semuliki, Semuliki National Park on the other side. So I come from a community that understands conservation vis-a-vis, because one of the challenges we are handling the most is the human-wildlife conflict. Population of the communities is growing, population of the animals is growing, so there's usually clashing, clashing here and there, and we are trying to see how we find a solution, but of course trying to also educate the community about the importance of these animals. Like I've said, you see, when we were created and God gave us responsibility for the world, He gave us the animals as well. So it would be unfortunate for someone to say, no, me, I need a garden, please put out all the animals, let's do away with them, and then I survive alone. I think God would also ask you, I think you're a bad manager. So what we are doing is managing these resources for the Ugandans. Not for UWA, not for me, Martin, as the minister. It is for you, the Ugandans, so your kid can see. Like we also took over from our grandchildren. But of course, for my people of Ntoroko, we shall also be we shall be there, and we've been engaging. I don't want to talk about our politics there. Tourism development sites, like I'm saying, of course we are developing phase by phase. We still have a lot to exhibit in this country. Let's agree to say we shall do it systematically, but we're also partnering with the private sector to help us develop some of these things. And not only, that's what I'm saying, one of the things people are not looking at is just the culture. The heritage, our people. I was in Igongo the other day, where they have a museum with a group of people, and people could not even. I was also shocked. For instance, you may be shocked. You don't know much about yourself and where you came from and whatever it is. And we're saying, why don't we actually have cultural interaction? One day we get the leadership of Uganda here. We go get the leadership of Ankole on an evening, sit on a campfire, and they talk about themselves, and we have connection amongst ourselves like a problem. But you see, our kids don't know this. So there's a lot to exhibit, minus only the wild animals, the culture, and the food, and whatever it is that would be of interest to ourselves and our kids. So there's a lot of potential in this country. We shall continue growing it as a sector. We cannot grow all of it in a day and finish it. But please, for Ugandans, start with what we have. You see, interestingly, there are some that are saying we need to develop a lot when you've not even interested yourself in what is developed.
The little that is around.
That is there. Interest yourself in this one as we also develop what we've not yet done out there. But there are so many. I was in an island called Gahiza, somewhere in in Kisoro, some with a very interesting story of what used to happen there. So let's just move out there.
Let's look at our Honorable. We've talked about more regarding nature. We know there are countries that have not so much when it regards to animals and nature. What other forms, what are other areas where Uganda we can sell out to the world and maybe interest ourselves in a way of tourism?
Of course, like I've said, Uganda has the most friendly population in the world. That is good enough. That is business, hospitality. Let me tell you, there are countries, I've been to some countries where you'd even you look for someone to talk to and there is no one. And this is one thing Ugandans are forgetting. You see, there are reasons why we are called the most friendly country in the world. They all used to see each other. You see, when a kid was growing up, he was brought up by the whole community and all this. So as a people already, that is something we can look at. And I know so many people are visiting Uganda. If you hear their comment, it is because of that. I'll come back to Uganda definitely because of the hospitable nature of the Ugandan people. And of course, like I'm saying, even culture. If you went and see the Bageso in their Imbalo festival, for instance, this year, just to tell you, we have something we are partnering with Toro Kingdom called Echoto Hampango, where they will be exhibiting culture. The king is involved. I want to thank UNDP that is partnering with this, and I want to call upon Ugandans, please go to Toro. It doesn't only have culture to offer. It is the most beautiful place I think in Uganda. It has the best weather, and like we call it, it's a tourism city. Just go and be part of it this weekend. Put some fuel in the car and go and tour. And I know there are tour operators that have organized good packages for it. Go and be a part of
well, let me just have a few last questions here. And you have, good morning, thanks to the minister and the country at large. I see the minister aiming at the Western only. How about other parts of the country? That is a concern. And we also have Ogwang David Cosmas, Commercial Officer Abim. I thank the minister for the endless efforts put to promote tourism industry. However, as a district local government, we have tourism potential services, but we have challenges of resources to help us in driving these activities. What can you do as the ministry?
Let me start with my brother from Oyam. And you see, Oyam has a big challenge of human wildlife traffic. We're trying to do an electric fence there. Because of resources, we've not done much, but we shall definitely be there again to see how we minimize the conflict. And I want to thank those people for loving the animals. Despite these challenges, they've continued the protection and found a way of living amicably with these animals. But like I'm saying, we're going to continue engaging more. And if you look at our NDP3 plan and the rest, government is taking more interest in the tourism sector. And we shall move with you. We shall see how we develop all these products together to better what we have to offer, or to create an abundance of what we have to offer in terms of tourism. But for my other brother who said we are focusing on only the West, no, unfortunately we're not. Like I said, the trip that I was on over the weekend was organized by a tour operator, but because I love domestic tourism and I'd want to see it grow, that's how I participated. But I can assure you, we are engaging engagements. We are going to restart Tulambule again, and I think we shall start with northern Uganda. We shall be all over this country. Just come and be a part of us. Just please, just come and experience.
In a minute, your final remarks to Ugandans.
Of course, my final remark, I keep emphasizing this, that the only way we can change this sector is by you, the Ugandan. You know, I'll say this a million times until the Ugandan gets it and starts doing it. I keep saying that to move this country, you do not need expensive cars, you do not need all this. Anyway, I was surprised when we were launching a travel movement the other day. There is someone who travels this country on foot. He moves from a probable distance of 150 kilometers, and he gets, I think, the experience much more than anyone else. Please, let's move. I was happy we launched the cyclers, fun cycling in Kampala. You can imagine these guys rode their bikes from Kampala to Masaka to Kalangala as they visited the tourism. And I think, you see, Ugandans think that people doing this are idle. But these, I saw the group, I know some of the members, these are serious rich people, but you see they are doing it for health while enjoying what the country has to offer and while tweeting about this country. So please, I want to implore to Ugandans, travel this country, but as you travel, tweet about the beauty of the country. Don't travel and stay silent with it. Okay. Find a smartphone and talk about it.
Okay, travel, tweet, sell out what you've seen to Ugandans and the rest of the world. I want to thank you so much. That is Honorable Bahinduka Martin Mogaro, happens to be the State Minister for Tourism, Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, for having fun time. It is us to promote this industry. Let's ensure that we tour Uganda. Domestic tourism is the way to go. Then the foreigners will also cherish the pleasure and the opportunities we have as a country. Have a lovely day. God bless you. See you till tomorrow. Stay with us. Sports is